yeah, Ross would get, he's got this amazing ability on restarts and his positioning to get a top 10 result out
with
of
a 25th place car. He's exceptional.
Very good. And
Shane Van Gisbergen shocked the NASCAR world with a comment that turned heads. After a tough race at Iowa, instead of focusing on his struggles, he turned the spotlight on his teammate, Ross Chastain. What did he say? That Chastain's talent was exceptional, and he was learning more from him than anyone else. The twist? This praise came after a 31st place finish. In NASCAR, success isn't just about raw speed or flashy moments. It's about the chemistry between teammates. At Trackhouse Racing, that chemistry has been key to the team's success. Shane Van Gisbergen, Ross Chastain, and Daniel Suarez make up a unique trio where, rather than competing against each other, they work together, pushing each other to be better. When Van Gisbergen struggled to a disappointing 31st place at Iowa Speedway, he didn't focus on his own problems. Instead, he chose to highlight the exceptional performance of his teammate Chastain. This was more than just a friendly compliment. It was an important lesson in how unity, support, and shared growth can create champions. Shane Van Gisbergen has quickly made a name for himself in NASCAR, especially on road and street courses where he's already won some impressive races. But when it comes to the oval tracks, the challenge has been a lot steeper. Ovals require a different skill set, handling high-speed racing, perfecting pit strategies, and understanding how to make your car work across different track conditions. Van Gisbergen admits that adapting to NASCAR's ovals wasn't easy. Some weeks I felt like I drove pretty well, and I was still 30th, he shared. It's been a learning curve. But instead of getting frustrated, Van Gisbergen chose to look at how his teammates, especially Chastain, were growing and improving together. When Van Gisbergen looked at the performance of his teammates, it became clear that they were getting faster, and he was catching up. Ross Chastain in particular was a huge influence. Van Gisbergen pointed out Chastain's incredible restart skills, saying, "Ross has got some amazing ability on restarts. His positioning to get a top 10 result with a 25th place car is exceptional." Very good. This kind of praise doesn't come lightly. For Van Gisbergen, Chastain wasn't just a teammate, he was a benchmark, someone whose skills were setting the standard for others to follow. Van Gisbergen was learning from him, trying to apply his techniques and strategies to improve his own performance. For Van Gisbergen, learning to be better in the pits, at restarts, and in tight situations had everything to do with watching Chastain's success. He understood that by studying his teammate, he could improve much faster. And, most importantly, the success of one driver could lift the entire team. Van Gisbergen didn't stop at just acknowledging Chastain's general talent. He zeroed in on one area where Chastain truly shines: restarts. In NASCAR, restarts can make or break a race. They happen after every caution, and getting a good restart is critical to moving up the field quickly. Chastain has mastered this skill, often finding a way to drive a car that might not be the fastest into the top 10. In Van Gisbergen's eyes, this wasn't just about one driver's performance, it was about how Chastain could elevate the whole team. When a driver like Chastain makes up positions on a restart, it motivates the rest of the team to push harder, to find that extra bit of speed, to learn how to drive more aggressively without losing control. This is the kind of culture Trackhouse Racing thrives in. Trackhouse Racing isn't like other teams. While many NASCAR teams face internal rivalries, Trackhouse stands out for its deep sense of unity. Chastain, Suarez, and Van Gisbergen don't see each other as competitors in the same team. Instead, they see each other as teammates working together to get better. "Ross and Daniel, we'd struggle as a team, you know," Van Gisbergen shared. "As our team is getting better, we're learning a bit more. Our oval cars are getting better. I'm kind of creeping up there with it." This kind of team chemistry is rare in NASCAR, where individual glory often takes precedence. At Trackhouse Racing, however, they recognize that true success comes from sharing knowledge, pushing each other to improve, and creating an environment where everyone can learn from each other's strengths. For Van Gisbergen, it's been a huge help in his development. Even though he was still struggling on ovals, the support and lessons from Chastain and Suarez allowed him to keep improving. And with each race, his performance has steadily gotten better. It's easy to forget that NASCAR isn't just a collection of drivers. It's a team sport. A car can't perform at its best without a skilled crew behind it. Drivers need the support of their teammates, crew chiefs, and pit crews to perform at their highest level. At Trackhouse Racing, the focus is on collaboration, not competition. Even though the drivers have their own goals, such as winning races or securing championship points, they recognize that when the team wins, everyone wins. This philosophy has made Trackhouse one of the most successful and harmonious teams in NASCAR. Van Gisbergen's comments are proof of this mentality. Rather than focusing on his individual struggles, he turned the conversation to the success of his teammate, Chastain. He was quick to point out how Chastain's skills were pushing the entire team forward, even in times of struggle. It shows that true champions recognize the value of teamwork and the importance of supporting each other. This year has been a transformative one for Shane Van Gisbergen. After dominating road courses with wins at Autódromo Hermanos Rodriguez, Chicago, and Sonoma, he's shown he can conquer the unique challenges NASCAR throws his way. His performances on oval tracks have vastly improved, with his average running positions and overall pace climbing steadily throughout the season. Van Gisbergen credits his teammates, especially Chastain, for helping him improve. As he said, "My average running positions now inside the top 20, or my pace is in the 20s now. So it's been a huge gain on the ovals, and it's only getting better too." For Van Gisbergen, it's not just about the victories, it's about the process of growth, both as an individual and as part of a team. As he continues to adapt to NASCAR's oval tracks, the lessons learned from Chastain and Suarez will be crucial to his future success. Looking ahead, the future of Trackhouse Racing seems bright. With 3 talented drivers like Chastain, Suarez, and Van Gisbergen, the team has all the right ingredients to continue challenging for top spots in NASCAR. But what truly sets them apart is the culture they've built. Teamwork, support, and knowledge sharing are at the heart of everything they do. This philosophy is shaping the future of NASCAR, showing that it's not just about individual talent, but about working together to bring out the best in everyone. Van Gisbergen's praise for Chastain is a reminder that success in NASCAR isn't just about winning races, it's about building a culture of excellence, helping each other improve, and becoming better together. Shane Van Gisbergen's shout-out to Ross Chastain was more than just a compliment. It was a powerful reminder of what makes Trackhouse Racing so special. In a sport that's often driven by individual competition, Van Gisbergen's recognition of his teammates' skills proves that true champions understand the value of teamwork. As the season continues, we can only expect Trackhouse Racing to keep growing, pushing each other, and setting new benchmarks for success. And for Shane Van Gisbergen, the lessons he's learned from Chastain could take him to even greater heights in the NASCAR world.
I mean, I like the movie. I think it did not do anything good for our sport.
Kyle Larson, NASCAR's top talent, just made a shocking revelation that could change how the sport is perceived. In a recent podcast, Larson blasted Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby, claiming it turned NASCAR into a joke. But it's not just Larson who feels this way. Teammate William Byron backed him up, signaling that the movie's legacy might have done more harm than good for the sport's image. In 2006, Talladega Nights, the Ballad of Ricky Bobby hit theaters, taking NASCAR to new heights in the pop culture stratosphere, with over-the-top humor, absurd characters, and iconic lines like, "If you ain't first, you're last." It became a cult classic. But now, almost 2 decades later, NASCAR's brightest stars, including Kyle Larson and William Byron, are openly criticizing the film's portrayal of the sport. Larson, known for his measured approach and serious racing focus, shocked fans by stating that the movie turned our sport into a joke. The debate has sparked heated discussion in the NASCAR world. Is Talladega Nights a fun comedy or a damaging stereotype that still clings to NASCAR's image? Let's take a closer look at Larson's explosive comments and why they could reshape how the sport presents itself to the public. When Talladega Nights hit theaters in 2006, NASCAR was riding high. The sport was attracting more mainstream fans, especially with stars like Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Jeff Gordon dominating the headlines. NASCAR was, in many ways, at the height of its popularity. With a mix of humor, satire, and outrageous characters, Talladega Nights became a movie that even casual fans loved. Will Ferrell's portrayal of Ricky Bobby, a loud, brash, and egotistical driver, caught the public's attention, and for many it became the face of NASCAR. However, despite the comedic success of the film, Larson and Byron believe that the movie's exaggerated redneck stereotypes and cartoonish depiction of NASCAR culture painted the sport in a less than flattering light. Larson's comments highlight a deeper concern. Talladega Nights might have done more harm than good in shaping the image of NASCAR. Larson, who has become one of NASCAR's most successful and respected drivers, was quick to share his thoughts on Talladega Nights during his appearance on the Games with Names podcast. Larson admitted that he enjoyed the movie, but also made it clear that he believes it did nothing positive for NASCAR. "I like the movie," Larson said, "but I think it did not do anything good for our sport. I think it turned our sport into a joke. Unfortunately, that's got to be one of the most popular racing movies. But the rest of the world, I feel like that's what they think about our sport now." It didn't take long for Larson's Hendrick Motorsports teammate William Byron to throw his support behind the comments. Byron, who is also at the top of his game in NASCAR, reposted Larson's quote on X, stating bluntly, 100%. Should not be the first thing people think of. Byron's response is telling. He and Larson are not alone in their frustrations. The two drivers, both major contenders in the Cup Series, see Talladega Nights as a representation of NASCAR that doesn't reflect the true nature of the sport. While the movie may have brought NASCAR into the limelight and attracted millions of viewers, it did so with a comedic, over-the-top tone that didn't portray the serious, competitive side of racing. The movie's portrayal of NASCAR as a redneck-filled sport with bumbling drivers and slapstick pit crews reinforces negative stereotypes that the sport has fought to move away from for years. As NASCAR aimed to attract a younger, more diverse audience, Talladega Nights seemed to set the sport back, reinforcing the good old boy image that many thought NASCAR had outgrown. The timing of Talladega Nights' release was also unfortunate for NASCAR. Just as the sport was gaining popularity and transitioning into a new era, the movie painted it in a comically exaggerated light. The impact of this portrayal wasn't immediately obvious, but over time, it became clear that Talladega Nights had skewed the perception of NASCAR, especially among newer or more casual fans. In the mid-2000s, NASCAR was still dealing with a decline in attendance and television ratings, and while the movie didn't directly cause these issues, its portrayal of the sport didn't help. The film's comedic portrayal of NASCAR's drivers and fans became a stereotype that stuck, and that was a tough image to shake as the sport moved into the next decade. Even though Talladega Nights came out nearly 20 years ago, it continues to have a lasting impact on NASCAR's image. For casual fans or those unfamiliar with the sport, the film's portrayal of NASCAR may be their only reference point. The movie's lines, catchphrases, and absurd humor have become iconic, and many still quote, "If you ain't first, you're last," at races or in casual conversation. But for drivers like Larson and Byron, this continues to be a point of frustration. They want NASCAR to be seen as a serious sport, one that requires incredible skill, focus, and athleticism. They want fans to appreciate the technical aspects of racing, from the engineering of the cars to the strategy employed by the teams. Byron, who recently snapped a 21-race winless streak with a victory at the Iowa Corn 350, made it clear that he feels the sport is moving in a positive direction. "I think we're better than we've ever been. We've been in some crashes that weren't our making," Byron said, "but we continue to bring speed." Byron's words are a reminder that NASCAR is evolving. The drivers are improving, the cars are faster, and the competition is more intense than ever. But the lingering perception of NASCAR as a joke, a perception shaped by Talladega Nights, still presents a challenge for the sport. Both Larson and Byron are pushing for a shift in how NASCAR is perceived by the wider public. They want to be seen as athletes who work hard, compete fiercely, and represent the best of motorsports. Larson's criticism of Talladega Nights is not just about the movie. It's about changing the narrative surrounding NASCAR and ensuring that the next generation of fans sees the sport for what it truly is: a high-stakes, highly competitive arena where talent and teamwork are key. The suggestion that Talladega Nights did more harm than good isn't just about a movie. It's about the image of NASCAR in the mainstream. Larson and Byron's comments are a call to fans, media, and the public to look beyond the stereotypes and appreciate the sport for its true complexity. See, for Larson and Byron, pushing back against the Talladega Nights stereotype is part of a larger effort to reshape how NASCAR is seen. While the movie will always be a part of pop culture, it's time for the sport to move beyond the joke and into a new era where racing is seen as a serious, competitive endeavor. Kyle Larson's bombshell comments about Talladega Nights have opened up a larger conversation about NASCAR's image and the challenges the sport faces in being taken seriously. While the movie may have made NASCAR a household name, it also left behind a legacy of redneck stereotypes and exaggerated portrayals that still impact the sport today. With drivers like Larson and Byron leading the way, there's hope that NASCAR can shake off this image and be seen for what it truly is, a sport that demands skill, precision, and athleticism. As the sport evolves, so too must the way it is perceived by the world.
I've wanted all those places, so let's go do it again, right? Watkins Glen's probably my favorite road course we go to. Richmond is statistically one of my best racetracks that we go to. And then Daytona's been one of our best racetracks since I've been at RCR with Team Chevrolet. So, feel really good about our opportunities in the next 3 weeks.
Kyle Busch has just 3 races left to make it into the 2025 NASCAR playoffs. He hasn't won in 2 years, and his chance to race for the championship is almost gone. Every race now counts. Can he pull off a win and make it into the playoffs, or will this be the year he misses out? Kyle Busch is a famous NASCAR driver known for his strong racing and many wins, but now he's facing one of the hardest parts of his career. The 2025 season has been tough for him, even though he has won a lot in the past. Right now, it's not clear if he'll make it into the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. With only 3 races left in the season, he doesn't have much time to turn things around. As it stands, Kyle Busch is 19th in the standings, far outside the coveted top 16 spots that will advance to the playoffs. His current position is a far cry from the dominance he's known for in NASCAR. With just 3 races remaining, Busch's only hope for playoff qualification lies in a win. But with the competition heating up and his recent struggles, securing that victory is far from guaranteed. Busch's story is one of highs and lows. The 2024 season was a tough blow for the 9-year-old driver, marking the first time in his career that he failed to win a race. After a season of ups and downs, he ended up outside the playoffs for the first time since the modern playoff format began. But despite his struggles, Busch has always been a fighter, and the question now is whether he can rally in 2025. This season has been no different, with Busch still seeking his first victory of the year. While his team's performance has been solid, consistent finishes have proven elusive. Busch's only path to the playoffs now appears to be a dramatic late-season victory. With so little time remaining, he knows that every lap, every pit stop, and every decision on the track counts more than ever before. The first opportunity for Busch to make a mark will come at Richmond Raceway, a track where he has historically performed well. With 6 wins and an average finish of 7.0 at Richmond, Busch has the experience and track record to succeed there. However, Busch has also acknowledged that past performances alone won't guarantee a win this time. The competition is fierce, and every race is a battle for survival. In an interview, Busch spoke candidly about his outlook for the remainder of the season. "I'm not going to lie, time is running out, and I know that," Busch said, "but I also know what we're capable of. Richmond is a track where we've had success, and if we execute well, we'll have a shot." Busch's comments reflect a sense of urgency that has come to define his mindset this year. With just a few races left to secure a win in a playoff spot, every decision will matter. There's little margin for error, and Busch is keenly aware of that. The pressure to perform at his best is intense, but it's nothing new for a driver who has dealt with high stakes throughout his career. The upcoming race at Richmond will not only be crucial for Busch's playoff chances, but also for his legacy. He's been in this situation before, and his career has been marked by comebacks and perseverance. But will his experience be enough to overcome the challenges of a season that has been far from smooth sailing? Richmond is just one of the tracks where Busch hopes to make a statement. The following race at Daytona is another opportunity for him to prove himself. Known for its unpredictability, Daytona often produces thrilling finishes and upsets. For Busch, the race represents a chance to turn the tide on his playoff chances. Daytona has been one of our best racetracks since I have been at RCR with Team Chevrolet. I feel really good about our opportunities in the next 3 weeks. However, while Daytona presents an opportunity, it also brings risks. The unpredictability of the track means that Busch will need to be strategic, especially with his playoff hopes hanging in the balance. The stakes could not be higher, and Busch knows that a mistake now could seal his fate. "You have to stay focused, stay calm, and take the opportunities when they come," he added. After Daytona, there's one more race before the playoffs, and it will be at Watkins Glen. A track that has presented both challenges and victories for Busch, Watkins Glen could be the site of his final push. With his playoff hopes on the line, Busch will need to finish strong. Watkins Glen is a tricky track, but we've had success there in the past, he said. "It's all about making sure we stay in the fight and not giving up." The remaining races of the season are critical for Busch. Each one presents a new challenge, but each also provides an opportunity to secure a win and punch his ticket to the playoffs. With the clock ticking down, Busch is focused on doing whatever it takes to make the playoffs. "We can't afford to leave anything on the table," he said. "We have to go for it." While Busch's situation may seem dire, it's worth noting that he has been here before.